Look into the early twilight sky, just after the sun dips below the horizon, and you may spot an astonishingly bright object lingering in the west, often mistaken for a plane or even a UFO. That is Venus. So luminous is this world that it has been called both the evening star and the morning star, depending on its place in the sky. Ancient civilizations worshipped it, revered it, tracked it religiously. But behind that soft, celestial glow lies a harsh, silent landscape, a place of unrelenting heat, immense pressure, and desolate silence. Venus and Earth were forged side by side over 4.5 billion years ago in the swirling disk of matter that surrounded our infant Sunday, similar in size, in gravity, and in composition. They were born with almost identical blueprints. They're the closest any two planets in our solar system come to being twins. For a long time, scientists believed their destinies might have followed a similar path, two habitable worlds side by side. But today, they're as different as fire and water. While Earth is alive with oceans, forests, and breathable air, Venus is a lifeless inferno cloaked in clouds of acid. The question is no longer simply why Venus is so different. The question is more disturbing. Was it once like us? And more importantly, could we become like it? In recent decades, evidence has emerged that suggests Venus might once have been more than just a lifeless rock. Scientists believe that billions of years ago, it may have been a planet with oceans, warm, shallow seas that covered large portions of the surface. Its atmosphere might have been thinner, its skies perhaps blue. Some models propose that this water could have persisted for hundreds of millions of years, enough time for complex atmospheric cycles to emerge, and maybe even the beginnings of life. This isn't just speculation. The data comes from NASA's Pioneer Venus mission and more recent satellite observations. Venus has an unusually high ratio of deuterium to hydrogen in its atmosphere, a fingerprint that suggests massive amounts of water were once present and have since been lost. Deuterium, a heavy form of hydrogen, is left behind when lighter hydrogen atoms escape into space. The more water a planet loses, the more deuterium is left behind. And on Venus, the ratio is 8-to-1 compared to Earth, an astronomical difference. Picture an ancient Venus. Surface temperatures in the 20s Celsius, clouds forming and dissipating like those on Earth, rainfall nurturing volcanic landscapes, winds whispering over slow-moving seas. That vision, though purely reconstructed through scientific modeling, is not far-fetched. It may have existed long before life took root on Earth. But something went wrong. As the sun aged, it grew brighter, as all main sequence stars do. And that extra heat began to tip the scales on Venus. Its oceans, already shallow and vulnerable, started to warm. Water evaporated into the atmosphere. But here's the twist. Water vapor itself is a greenhouse gas. As more vapor accumulated, it trapped more heat. And as the heat rose, even more water evaporated. A vicious feedback loop had begun. Eventually, the oceans couldn't hold. They boiled away completely, flooding the atmosphere with steam. With no oceans left to absorb carbon dioxide or weather volcanic emissions into rock, CO2 built up unchecked. Temperatures soared beyond survivable levels. Sunlight, now intensified by a thicker atmosphere, split water molecules apart. The hydrogen escaped to space, and the oxygen was swept away or bonded with minerals. The planet lost its last hope of habitability. The runaway greenhouse effect had turned Venus into a furnace. Temperatures climbed to a scorching 464 degrees Celsius, 867 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than Mercury. Even though Venus is farther from the sun, atmosphere pressure increased to 92 times that of Earth's, the equivalent of being submerged 900 meters beneath the ocean. The clouds, thick and ever-present, now consist of sulfuric acid droplets. Winds scream through the upper atmosphere at 300 kilometers per hour, yet the surface is utterly still. So dense is the air that even a soft breeze would feel like swimming in hot oil. Venus became not just inhospitable, but apocalyptic. On Earth, we enjoy a rare equilibrium, a balance between water, air, and land, moderated by the dynamic systems of life. Our oceans absorb CO2. Our forests sequester carbon. Our atmosphere, just thick enough to protect us from radiation, allows heat to escape at night. Life, in all its diversity, contributes to climate regulation. But that balance is under strain. Since the industrial age began, humans have dug up and burned over 2.4 trillion tons of fossil fuels: coal, oil, natural gas, releasing carbon that had been locked underground for hundreds of millions of years. CO2 concentrations have surged from pre-industrial levels of 280 parts per million to over 420 ppm, a rate of increase never before seen in Earth's history. The warming we are experiencing is real, measurable, and accelerating. Glaciers are melting, oceans are warming, coral reefs are bleaching, droughts, floods, and wildfires are intensifying. We're not headed toward Venus tomorrow, but the mechanisms that destroyed Venus's habitability are not alien. They are rooted in physics. And physics doesn't care whether the CO2 comes from volcanoes or combustion engines. We know what happens when greenhouse gases run rampant. Venus is the final consequence of what happens when nothing stops the warming. That's why scientists are turning their eyes to Venus with new urgency. The planet is not just a curiosity anymore, it's a warning beacon. If we can understand how Venus changed, we may better understand the path Earth must avoid. NASA's upcoming missions, Veritas and Da Vinci Plus, will launch within the next decade. Veritas will map the planet's surface with radar, searching for signs of tectonic activity, volcanoes, and erosion, all clues to its geologic past. Da Vinci Plus will dive into Venus's atmosphere, sampling gases on the way down, analyzing noble gases, sulfur compounds, and isotopes that could unlock its hidden history. Meanwhile, the European Space Agency's Envision mission aims to scan the surface and subsurface, hunting for evidence of resurfacing events and crustal activity that may reveal whether Venus was ever Earth-like. These missions will help us answer the most pressing questions. Did Venus ever have plate tectonics? How long did water persist? Was life ever possible there? And crucially, what was the tipping point? Venus is not just another world. It is a time capsule and a mirror. It shows us what happens when a planet's climate spins out of control, unchecked by oceans, forests, or conscious inhabitants. Venus shows us that habitability is not guaranteed. It must be maintained, guarded, nurtured. The silence of Venus is deafening. It is the silence of a planet that once might have had rain, wind, and perhaps even oceans, now lost forever to time and heat. And if Venus is a mirror, then we must ask ourselves, what do we see when we look into it? The story of Venus is not fiction. It is a scientifically plausible, deeply researched narrative of planetary transformation, one that echoes eerily with what we see happening on Earth today. And it reminds us, Earth's climate is not unbreakable. It is vulnerable, and we are its stewards. Unlike Venus, Earth has life, and more importantly, Earth has intelligence. It has us. We are the first species on this planet with the awareness and technology to understand climate change and its consequences.